I wanted to share this idea with you for Passover. We have been singing about Passover in my nursery school music classes this week, and I've been using the songs to tell the story. This is a song that you know, I'm sure, but we've just elaborated on it to make it more of a story. So before we start this song, I tell the kids that Moses went to Pharaoh and said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh was so mean, he put on his mean face and he said to him, "No!" And we practice that a bunch of times so that the kids know anytime I say, "Let my people go," their answer is always going to be no. And so I say to the kids, Moses said to Pharaoh that if he was so mean and kept saying no, bad things were going to happen to him. And so Moses left. And the next morning when Pharaoh woke up, something bad did happen to him. This is what happened. One morning when Pharaoh awoke in his bed, there were frogs in his bed and frogs on his head, frogs on his nose and frogs on his toes, frogs here, frogs there, frogs were jumping everywhere. And I have the kids jump around like frogs. We might do it a few more times. And then I tell them that the next day Moses came back to Pharaoh and said, "Pharaoh, I told you, if you said no and were so mean, that something bad was going to happen to you. Now look, you have frogs. I'm going to give you another chance. Pharaoh, let my people go." And the kids will probably yell, "No!" And if not, you can prompt them and you can say, "Okay, but something else bad is going to happen to you because you are so mean." So Moses went away, and the next morning, Pharaoh woke up. And there were these huge flying bugs all over his room. They were called locusts. And I let the kids be the bugs, and they all fly around the classroom and buzz, and we sing like this. One morning when Pharaoh awoke in his bed, there were locusts on his bed and locusts on his head, locusts on his nose and locusts on his toes, locusts here, locusts there, locusts flying everywhere. And of course Moses came back the next day and said to Pharaoh, "Pharaoh, I told you something bad was going to happen. I'm going to give you another chance. Let my people go." And your students will probably yell, "No!" And Moses says, "Okay. If you're going to keep saying no and keep being mean, something else bad is going to happen to you." And we sing through the plagues. I usually do the lice. I have the kids itch all over and try to get them off. I sometimes do hail. I have them walk around and cover their head and try not to get hit. And then we usually close on this one. We say, "One morning when Pharaoh awoke in his bed, there was darkness everywhere, he couldn't see a thing." And the kids are walking around with their eyes closed, with their hands out in front of them, seeing what it's like to be in the darkness. Darkness in the daytime, darkness all night long, darkness here, darkness there, darkness covered everywhere. And then I tell the kids that Moses came back to Pharaoh and said, "Pharaoh, all of these horrible things have happened to you. You had frogs in your room. You had locusts flying all over the place. You had itchy lice. You had hail. You had darkness. Pharaoh, let my people go." And Pharaoh this last time says, "Yes, take the Jews, the Israelites, and get out of here. All these bad things are happening to me because you're here, and I don't want you here anymore." So of course the Israelites were very excited and packed up all their stuff very quickly and got to leave. And so that's how we do it. Feel free to be creative. I'm sure you could do wild beasts, or one of my students this week asked me if we could do blood, and she came up with an idea for how we could act out blood. But have a lot of fun with it and enjoy.